It's the most magical time of the year. Playoffs. 8 teams come in with hopes and dreams of capturing a championship in what could be the last year of OWL as we know it. This year has been particularly competitive, and you never know who might take advantage of a new meta. The idea of it all can be kinda frightening if you support one of these 8 teams, and you may be questioning if your team really has what it takes to win. Is it even worth getting your hopes up? Let's spread some positivity, or at the very least, some good laughs and some false hope. Time for some reassurance for all of your nerves. Here is one reason that your team will win the grand finals. Let's begin with what I consider to be the lowest seed, the London Spitfire. London come into the playoffs as an oddball. London are Reinhardt one-tricks, and that is their key to success. Being the weird ones who you know for a fact will not be playing the norm. If their comp happens to work well, it's gonna be a pain in the neck to play against. Their style is unlike any other team in the playoffs. They're so far away from the norm that it's practically impossible to prepare for. Nobody is going to be used to playing up against that. London requires a completely different approach, and said approach could lead to major confusion. If you show even the slightest hesitation against their teamwork, it'll cost you a series. And London technically don't have any pressure. They barely squeaked in here. They don't have the championship aspirations like some of these other teams. They can sit pretty while the whole world around them burns to the ground. London are happy to be there, and oftentimes that can be the most dangerous team of all. And with that level of team play, you just can't rule them out. Also in an interesting spot in the playoffs is the Dallas Fuel. Their season thus far has been slightly above average at best. But now, here in the postseason, the scriptwriters might have gifted them another opportunity. The Dallas Fuel can win the championship this year by Hanbin going full-on Zarya God mode, while Edison and Sparkle turn back the clock to 2022. Zarya, Genji, Sojourn, Lucio would be right up their alley. No dive metas, no having to off-roll. Now Dallas can do what they've done best for years. Embrace their high-end talent while perfecting the meta under the Coach Rush hive mind. There's never been an opportunity like this to return to form. There's obviously a lot of questions on if their DPS can go back to that form, and if their support line can even hold up with the elite backlines of the league, but none of that's gonna matter. The Fuel are overdue for a good run, and the devs are practically giving it to them. They've already proven themselves before, at least most of this team, and that confidence, along with the comfort picks, could go a long way. The Hangzhou Spark. If a Zarya meta ends up being true, the Spark should be dead in the water. But that's the thing. Every time you doubt them, they're full of surprises. The Spark's path to a championship lies within their clutch playmakers and experience. Leave, Shy, Gushwei. They were born for this. They've all contributed to deep playoff runs in the past. Leave and Shy have done some nutty things with their solo carries, and now they're teaming up in the playoffs. And while Gushwei is no Zarya player, he's shown this season that he can fight off those weaknesses with other methods of winning. A little Monkey here, a little Orisa Doom there. The man literally becomes one of the most stable players in the game during the playoffs. He's already done so on 2 separate occasions, leading the Spark team to multiple top 4 finishes. The point is, the Spark are always a threat. Mickey Mouse region or not, these boys are talented. Give them a little time to prep for the Western teams, and they'll make the most of it. This team plays exceptionally well in the spotlight. That experience could serve them well. In fact, it may even give them a clear advantage over even some of the top teams in the league, as they'll be feeling more pressure overall. The road ahead will be absurdly difficult, but if there's one team you can trust as an underdog almost always, it's the Spark. The Boston Uprising are up next, and their path to success is a simple one. Your roster is full of previous champs and premier talent. Let the guys with experience lead the way. Smurf, Birdring, and the backline could be the best player at their position on any given day. As a group of vets, Boston should have some of the best composure in these playoffs. They've shown they can hang at the top. Now they've just got to finish the job. Eventually, you've got to break through. And why not now, when the stakes are at their highest? Boston, on paper, should be comfortable in this new meta. Smurf is flexible, Lijiagon's on Lucio, Birdring on Hitscan, and most importantly perhaps, a guy that's hungry to get his first ring. Decay has never even come close to winning the title before, despite all the hype in his career. This might be where Decay goes beast mode to finally get his long-awaited ring. We've seen a lot of other hyped-up players eventually reach their peak, like Sparkle last year and whatnot, and Decay's been waiting patiently for a chance just like this one. All that pent-up frustration could lead to a carry like no other. Boston have more than enough assets to make this a reality. They just have to stop tripping over their own 2 feet. The Houston Outlaws. Abuse the powers of your star players in their ultimate comfort, and it's winnable. A Zarya meta is a little terrifying for the Outlaws, just knowing that it's not really a fearless hero, and if they did pick somebody up like Bernard, for example, who plays her, you really don't know how that's going to affect your productivity on the tank role. But one thing we can certainly count on is the rest of the team. If they all do their jobs properly, it may make up for any issues they may or may not be facing at tank. The Outlaws built a super team. If your tank can at least be serviceable, the other guys will more than pull their weight. I mean, Shu can simply gap everybody in the league on BAP. There's Happy, who's playing the best Overwatch of his career in a Sojourn meta, and Pelican with a chance to look a lot more alive than we've seen in recent memory. The Outlaws are stacked if the rumored meta proves to be true, as they boast some of the biggest names in the league and have already given the results that you're looking for against the top teams. The sky is actually the limit for this team, and anything but a championship would be a big disappointment. Florida Mayhem. Let's cut right to the chase. The Mayhem have a distinct advantage in the playoffs. Flexibility. That's their ticket to winning this championship. Simply feeling more prepared than their opposition. They've shown an uncanny ability to play multiple compositions at the highest level possible. There shouldn't be any doubt that they couldn't do the same in a Zarya meta. The Mayhem don't require any cheesy tricks or a miraculous outcome. They genuinely might win by brute force. Just use that coaching and your flexibility for better execution. They are way less likely to feel overwhelmed by a sudden meta change. In a sense, they have been meta-proof this year. Someone can play pretty much any tank at the highest level, and that immediately makes him more favorable than pretty much any other tank in the playoff bracket. But then you have one of the most underrated backlines in the game, Merit on his carry heroes, plus the best Genji in the world now. If you don't consider that an ideal situation, I don't know what you would. The Mayhem can simply win by being better with their understanding of the game and overwhelming their opponents with top players at their skill positions. This title is theirs for the taking. The only thing stopping them at this point is themselves. Seoul Infernal. The objective still remains the same. Finish the job. The question is it even possible for them? Realistically, they might have the lowest chance of any team here. Nobody feels particularly good about them. However, a clear-cut path is right in front of you. You can win the championship just by steering clear of the spotlight. Nobody is even giving you a chance. You're pretty much under the radar aside from the watchful eye of bad Pachimari. Seoul's biggest weakness this season has been pressure and just shooting themselves in the foot. The expectations of the home crowd, along with some other composition issues, really hurt them in the mid-season madness. Take that away, and who knows what might happen. If Infernal stay in their own lane and they leave the self-destructing up to the teams with actual pressure on their shoulders, maybe there is hope after all. Realistically though, Infernal might have the hardest road of any team. You're highly questionable in a Zarya meta, be it through Mag or Poco, your roster may not be able to compete in general, and you lost Fixa to injury. Seoul have a literal mountain to climb. But hey, with all that pain and all that misery that they've gone through throughout these last 6 years, maybe the gods finally give them a break. For the sake of longtime Philly fans, let's hope this is the end. And last, but certainly not least, the Atlanta Reign, the 1 seed in the playoffs. The equation to Atlanta's championship is very simple. You have the best backline in the league and LIP. 3 of the best players in the world at their respective roles, if not the best. Embrace their godlike abilities, and you're gonna have a fighting chance at the very least. Admittedly, I'm a bit worried about Atlanta in a Zarya meta. It's a team game, and I don't feel particularly great about Hawk or Donghack. If you're not up to par at some place, it may cost you a championship, but they literally have the greatest backline ever assembled, and that just might make up for any deficiencies. Chio and Fielder carried in last year's finals, and they're probably going to do it this year too. History tells us the most OP backline makes the biggest difference. And do you remember what Lip did in the playoffs last year as well? That guy is a Sojourn god. Now imagine him with this incredible support around him. It just might break the league. If the strengths can outweigh the weaknesses, and there may not be many of them, Reign will definitely take this home. This isn't a Sombra meta, there's no guarantee there, but the championship DNA and the superstardom is enough to suggest they're still possibly the favorites. If Lip and the boys lock in, there's a possibility that nobody stands a chance. We'll have to see though. There's nothing written in stone. That goes for Atlanta and any other favorite you can think of. Anything can happen in the stretch of 4 days. All that matters is how you play during that specific time. There's no other prep time, you have no other weeks to prepare and move on from your struggles. You have to put it all out there and take that risk in a 4-day stretch. All you can do now is play up to your strengths and execute. Time will tell. Let's leave it there. That is how every playoff team, in my opinion, could win the grand finals. Some of these ideas are obviously a lot more far-fetched than others, but hey, that's sports. Sometimes literally a miracle is required. But hey, we've seen crazier things before. Maybe that's exactly what we'll get. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the content, I would appreciate it a lot if you could support the channel by liking the video and subscribing if you're new. And until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Peace.